All right, guys, pre-lesson, section 1-3. Algebra 2 is going to take a little turn. There are quite a few story problems, and if that phrase just brought fear to your soul, hang tough. Algebra 2, every single unit, but especially first trimester, you're going to learn some different ideas, and all of a sudden story problems show up. And then you take a break from story problems, and then they come back, and then they disappear and you're relieved, and then they come back. Second trimester is not nearly loaded like first trimester is with story problems. So having said that, let's tackle some. I decided in the pre-lesson to really hone in on probably the area that would confuse you more than any other, and that is the expectation of these story problems that puts on you that you'd be able to translate these commonly used phrases this unit: three consecutive integers, three consecutive even integers, three consecutive odd integers, and you'd be able to translate into algebra. And that's always the grind. So for example, if I said, hey, give me three consecutive integers, and I actually gave you this visual right here, like maybe somebody would go, oh, I'm going to give you 2, 3, and 4. And you're like, okay, yeah, 2, 3, and 4. Absolutely. Ding, 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 ding. Nailed it. Wait a minute. There's a challenge. How can you say the same thing using algebra talk? Well, what we're going to do, you don't have to do it this way. There's a different way, but just to keep things simple so we're all on the same page, we're going to assign the first one to be our x. Now, don't make this too hard. How much bigger is this one than that one? Well, it's bigger by 1, so my next one's going to be x plus 1. Now, I'm also going to take this guy, and I'm going to say, hey, how much bigger is this third one in my list than the first one in my list? Well, it's 2 more. So I could go x plus 2. So that's how I would represent this algebraically. And so even if I would have picked 4, 5, and 6, this is your algebra representation of any three consecutive integers. Now let's make it a little bit more spicy. Now they're going to ask you to say, hey, what are three consecutive keyword even integers? Well, then maybe I would pick, let's just keep the positive one, 2, 4, and I'm going to add 6. There they are, 2, 4, and 6. All right, absolutely a very good example of three consecutive even integers. What's an integer? Just a whole number. So again, sticking with the program, we're going to take the first one in our list, we're going to think of it as x, our starting point. And then just ask yourself, the second one, how does that compare to the first one? Well, that's 2 bigger. That's x plus 2. And again, the third one on our list, how does that compare to the first one? Well, it's 4 bigger, so I'm going to go x plus 4. Notice the difference? Now here's the last one for your pre-lesson in this realm. Three consecutive odd integers. Well, let's go ahead and pick 1, 3, and 5. So there we go, 1, 3, and 5. Excellent example. Those are odd, they're consecutive odd. There's 3 of them. So we're going to stick with the program now. We're going to call this first one x. And then how much bigger is this one than the initial one? It's greater by 2. So I have to add 2 to my initial one to get 3. And then I think, okay, how much bigger is the final one in the list than the first one? Well, this number's 4 bigger than that one. So I need to go x plus 4. Now notice, algebraically, these end up being the same. So keep that in mind. A lot of students, they make a mistake. They figure it's x plus 1, x plus like 3. They think you got to use odd numbers in the algebra, and that's not accurate. So with that in mind, the final little thing I wanted to throw at you that you're going to be expected to kind of understand on a couple of these samples. The good old formula, distance equals rate times time. If I go 50 miles an hour for 2 hours, how far did I go? 100 miles. Distance equals rate times time. So you'll hear me refer to this formula in, I think, one sample problem coming up. There you go.